think she really, really enabled Jonasi. She made him feel like he could get away with, you understand, what he did. She made him feel like he could get away with, having a second wife at a go or just doing whatever he wanted to. That's now made him more audacious to continue what he did and spiral and spiral and spiral. Do you understand? Where he did the first time and there was no repercussion. In fact, she babied him to the end. She tried to, like, cater to his whims and needs, even till the end, even when her first son was even challenging her and getting her to feel accountable. I think in terms of that accountability, it wasn't there with SC. So it's how women really enable, apart from us like yelling, Joyce, 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 Joyce had her role to play in the sense of she kept on hoping things would get better if I bend to his will, if I do what he wants, if I'm a better wife than this, if I allow this. And you see, it just never gets any better. So there's a place to say about not enabling these men because they know exactly what they're doing. Think about the decisions that you're making that are going to impact your kids. Have self respect for yourself. It's not easy, but I would say our mothers those times in terms of what they tolerated, or like our parents or grandparents, because they didn't have any sort of solution in terms of um what they earned, in terms of financial stability. So they had no choice but to like tolerate these men, live with them, really tolerate a lot that they shouldn't have. But in this day and age that most women are educated, they have jobs, or you able to strive for yourself, you have your business, there's no excuse to, you understand, want to go through what your ancestors or your family or your mothers went through. There's a choice now, and it's the onus for women of this generation to make that choice and to want better and to have better for our lives. And I also employ men as well to think about the long-term effects of your behavior, not just the short-term enjoyment, how it impacts other people, and not just to think about yourself. Jonasi, to be fair, is someone it could be your uncle, your father, your grandfather, someone an uncle, somebody and it's not a new concept. But it just put this forefront for us to be like, wow, like to our faces. And I think it's asking us a question to society as per where we're going and what we call term as culture, and how these things that we allow to be toxic, how they influence our lives and our future, and if it's some things that are good about culture to drop, or there's some things that we should continue doing. But I think, yeah, this pretty much answers itself around how it creates toxic family dynamics. And